What's up, guys? Our Wrestling Podcast back at you with another episode. This is Dave Vicious along with Just the Total Package, Craig the British Bulldog, bringing you our perspective on the world of professional wrestling. No inside sources, no ties to the industry, just stories from the diehards, sharing opinions with you. Today's topic, Bautista, 2005. This should be fun. For audio fans, give us a listen on Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and Google Podcast, or watch our videos on YouTube at Our Wrestling Channel. Can you hook us up on social media and give us a follow on Instagram or Twitter at O.W.P 2019 or on Facebook at Our Wrestling Podcast? Jess, why 2005?
I think it's probably one of the best years that Bautista ever had. And a lot of people don't. It's weird. Like, Bautista's kind of remembered for when he came back later in the Royal Rumble. What was that, 2013 or 14?
Bautista?
14.
Was
and
that
he became Bautista, and he won the Royal Rumble, and it was famous for, like, he was in there, I think, with Roman Reigns
I'm
last.
trying to remember, that was Give Me What I Want. Give me what I want.
People were cheering Roman Reigns and Roman. No, this was before that.
I thought the 13 was Give Me What I Want. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it was later. The Bautista came back. They wanted to push him as a face. They had him programmed to run the Royal Rumble. He was in there last with Roman Reigns, and the crowd shit all over Bautista. Bautista still wins. He was supposed to main event WrestleMania 30 against Randy Orton, but the Daniel Bryan movement got so big, it became the triple threat, and we all know what happened after that. But a lot of people just remember him for that because that's more recent. But back here in 2005, when he was this member of Evolution, and they were putting all their stock in Randy Orton. Not a bad person to put your stock into, by the way. But Randy Orton had some problems outside the ring, and they were trying to figure out his character in the ring after he left Evolution. Bautista was like this surprise that people started to get behind. And Dave, you're going to read away. At the end of 2004, beginning of 2005, this was his biggest year, and this build-up for the WrestleMania 21 that we're going to talk about was one of the best WWE buildups in history. It was great. It was fun. One of the best pieces of business that Triple H ever did during his reign as champion. And they literally crowned Bautista here. And I think this is probably his best year ever. And not saying any year after that was disappointment, but he got hampered by injuries and stuff like that. And he would leave and come back. Now we know him as, Guardian of the Galaxy guy. But back here, he was our little Bautista. He was the
and he had hair.
Bodyguard to Devon Dudley when they split the Dudley boys up. He debuted on the main roster as the bodyguard of Devon Dudley.
Was his name Bautista as the bodyguard?
Yes.
Got it.
Yes.
Because he was in the OVW class with Shelton Benjamin and Brock and Cena, like the biggest class ever, right? Maybe
yes.
I missed one of them.
No, you are correct. Yeah, you are. You're right.
So Bautista is 53 now. In 2005, he was still kind of like, for a wrestler at that time, he was starting 17. Really late, right?
Yeah, he was an aged when he
was
broke
36.
Free. Yeah.
So when you're
That's
36
old.
and you're just breaking in, I think that's part of where the back goes. Well, you are amazing, you're huge, and you've got talent, but obviously you're looking at the age of Orton, and that's where you're putting your stock. To your point, I think the age had a lot to do with that, and then. But the crowd's like, yeah, but this guy's pretty awesome. Like, he's pretty incredible.
Yeah, man. I was always taken to him once he became part of Evolution. I was like, Batista's kind of badass. Like, you just kind of, and then he won the world tag titles with Flair. And while they were pushing Orton and all that stuff in 2004, and then all of a sudden at the end of 2004, the crowd just started taking to him, and people they kind of tried Orton separating from Evolution, and the crowd kind of shit on Orton as a fan favorite. It didn't really work out that well. So out of nowhere, this groundswell for Batista started. People started cheering him, and then they started okay, let's play with it a little bit. And then at the end of 4, they started acting like Batista wanted to get out of Evolution, and there was dissension. And then people really got behind Batista. It got really loud. And people I think Vince at the time, Vince was like, dude.
But I'll tell you, one of the best interests I remember was Batista's interest when he kind of went solo at this point, and afterwards the machine gun fireworks.
Yeah.
That stuff was awesome.
He looked great. He looked the part. It was
Everything
Vince's
was
dream, right? Vince loved it.
I think
big guy, huge and muscular. Fucking let's do it.
The accident that I knew it all along.
Fuck you, Triple H. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that. Get out.
He's never said that, actually.
Yeah, let's just jump right into it. So,
right.
And then, by the way,
actually, before WrestleMania 13, he did.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So
since
late
04, the relationship between Batista and Triple H began to deteriorate in that kayfabe sense. After a loss to Chris Jericho, Triple H verbally insulted Batista. Batista would tease leaving Evolution that night, but declared that he was still part of Evolution and that they tricked everyone. It was a big ploy. But despite that ploy, Batista began behaving more like a face over the next few weeks in comparison to Evolution's heel tactics. As 2005 began, Triple H realized the possibility of Batista becoming a threat to his World Heavyweight Championship.
Well, champion. Do your Flair champion.
He's a world champion. In the back, he was like, oops, he's probably going to be a world champion.
I love it.
I don't know, Nate. And he was thinking, he's going to be a world champion. And Rick cried about something.
Yeah.
And then cut his head.
No.
And he could have said, Lynn blood.
Just bled right there in the back and gave himself an elbow drop.
Yeah. I pay my taxes. Boom.
Triple H suggested that he, being Batista, not enter the Royal Rumble, claiming that it would be selfish for him to do so and to simply focus on Trips retaining that title.
I'm going to be selfish, Batista. I think he didn't have quite that loud of voice yet. That was another Triple H.
Batista.
Hey, Batista. That's how Triple H used to sound. But I think he had more of a gravelly voice here.
Terrible.
He was a little bit more like this. Yeah.
Don't forget when I take a sip of the juice.
But the young like 97, 98 Triple H was like, you're right, Sean. Like, stupid voice. Come here, China.
Because he started like blue blood and like, I like that. And then he kind of,
And then now he's like, his voice is gravelly in real life. Now he's like, that's great. Like a lot of documentaries.
Well, I think if you do it enough, if you do that gravelly voice enough, you're going to
blows your voice out, right?
Blows out those
Vince
vocal
is
cords.
Vince used to be, oh my. Now Vince is like when you talk.
Yeah. Sounds like he's going to start talking about space lasers.
What?
I'm
back to work. What? What? Like that all I'll see you Monday. Fuck. Like
Batista entered the Rumble anyway and went on to win.
That's selfish.
That said Rumble, earning the right to participate in the main event of WrestleMania 21
that was the famous
the world
Rumble
champion of his choice.
That was the famous Rumble where stupid Vince came down in the ring and blew both his quads out. You fuck. And that was when they went over the top rope at the same time. Legend has it that John Cena was supposed to hit first because the final two were John Cena and Bautista, and they were the two most popular in wrestling. So they were going to split them. One was going to take on JBL. The other one would obviously stay and take on Triple H. So, and they started building planting the seeds with Batista, obviously, like Dave said before that, with Triple H is like, you're selfish, Batista. I'm just going to use that voice because it's my favorite Triple H voice. Don't do it, Batista. So he did it anyway, but they both went over the top rope and hit at the same time. From what the legend says, it was that John Cena they were supposed to both go over the top rope, but Batista was supposed to hold on and Cena would go out because they didn't want to damage Cena, but they wanted to make it like a close thing. Then they both hit at the same time because Batista missed the rope or just it went over too fast and they both hit at the same time. So Vince decided to come out and he was pissed in real life and he was like, just turn it over and did that. When he slid the ring, he blew both his fucking kneecaps out and sat in the ring. And he's like, and I'll never forget that image of Batista and all the refs and Cena looking at him like,
just going like, oh my God.
Do.
So what's wrong?
Yeah, legend has it is that the ending got botched. Vince had to come out and restart the Rumble, and then Batista just fucking threw him over and wins the Rumble. So I don't know, right? I think it ended the way it was supposed to. I don't think there was a fuck up, but even Bruce, I think, said that there was a snafu that Batista fucked up a little bit, like it went over the top rope and missed the hook to grab the top rope and just fucking fell over. I don't know.
Wow.
To me, when I look at it, Batista didn't even try to grab the rope. It looked like it was all planned to me. And that Vince was supposed to come out and start the match over. There's got to be a winner. There's not going to be a tie like 1994 with Luger and Brett. And that's what I thought the storyline was. But I guess people say that John Cena was supposed to hit before Batista, and Batista was supposed to grab the rope and stop from both feet hitting. But
that's called getting in your own way, making it way too complicated. Like the hitting simultaneously seems harder, and you could have just like Bruce would always say, if it happened live, it was supposed to. They should have just worked it out, figured it out.
Yeah.
Overpowering John Cena. No, the Spine Buster. Batista beats Cena. Batista, the exclamation point is on the center of the Royal Rumble match. Batista. It was not without controversy. But by God, we know now who's going to the main event at WrestleMania 10.
No doubt about it. Batista's going
Great Royal Rumble, great matchup.
Funyuns.
He's fine.
In an attempt to persuade Bautista to challenge WWE champion John Bradshaw Layfield, or JBL as we call him, and challenger John Cena in a triple threat match for that title, Triple H
The B
concocted
stands
a
for
scheme.
bully. Thank you.
Yeah, there you
Yep.
go. Triple H
Don't bully
concocted a scheme to have Batista run over in a limousine resembling the one used by John Bully Layfield. Sorry.
Wait, Rick, guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna get a limo and roots them with
You
the
can't-
horns
you
like
can't
JBL.
Can't stop.
Look at it, Rick. This is what I'm gonna do, Batista.
I tricked
but,
you.
But guess what? Batista became aware of the plot while sneakily eavesdropping on a fellow Evolution member and signed a contract guaranteeing him a match with the world
Heavens to
heavyweight
murder joint, I'm
champion,
getting a limo.
Triple H at WrestleMania 21, thus leaving
Is that what
Evolution
Triple H
and
said?
officially turning face.
Oh,
Bautista initially pretended that he would sign the SmackDown contract, giving Triple H and Flair the thumbs up, but then turned it into a thumbs down before attacking the pair. The reason why that's kind of important was that was kind of their Evolution thing. They did it with Randy Orton when he first won the title.
Yeah,
He
when
hoists
they
him up.
wanted Evolution to attack someone, Triple H would be like, "Thumbs down, Batista," and then they would attack. But if he did thumbs up, that means
But
they're
the-
okay.
Wait a minute, what are you doing, Bautista? What are you doing? Oh, God! If you do this, there's no turning back! No! God almighty! What a big powerbomb! Through the table! The world's champion! Through the table!
And the segment that you just said actually was probably one of the best Raw segments in forever, and the build up, and finally at the end, like Batista going, "Yeah, I'm going to sign to take on John Bradford. I won't touch
pretty
you in the world
smart,
title."
yeah.
And he's like, and then he's fucking attacked him and signed him, and then he powerbombed him in the table, and then
Through
he
the
signed
table.
it, and like.
Yeah.
Dude, the place went nuts for Batista. He was over as fuck here. Like, this was such
really
a great
was.
build up. It really, and WrestleMania
You
is one of
could-
my
you could
hidden
assume
favorite
because
WrestleMania.
they remember all the great memories of this particular moment of the crowd going nuts. They thought like years later that it would just happen again because it was Batista, and people were kind of over that. I'm not to try to dwell on this too much, but I think this huge crowd reaction over this time was like, oh, we're bring Batista back. It'll just be automatic, and it wasn't. It's the story that's part of it.
I told you so.
You keep doing that.
that's what you get for the thumbs up thing, jerk.
That's my Triple H. My 1997 Triple H will always be my impression. Even though
That's
his voice
terrible.
now sounds like he swallowed glass, but like yeah, in the back, he probably's like, "I'm the king," like on the screen. How did that look, Vince? Was that a good segment? Like even to this day, he's probably like that.
You want to go to a Motorhead show?
Great job, Roman. You look great out there, Roman Reigns.
That's enough. That's enough. Batista won the World Heavyweight Championship on April 3rd in the main event of WrestleMania 21. That particular WrestleMania received 1.09 million pay-per-view buys worldwide. At that point, it was the highest ever number of buys for any non-boxing pay-per-view. Batista's match
Because
with
of
Triple H
me.
was described by sports journalist Dave Meltzer as the peak of one of
Oh.
WWE's best storylines in
It was
years.
probably the peak of it. It's a good show.
Bautista feels it. He senses it. No. Oh, God. The thumbs down by Bautista. Bautista now. Taking out the champion. Bautista. Oh, Bautista bomb. Bautista bomb. Can Bautista pin him? A little. Yes. Bautista has won the world title.
The winner of this bout and new world heavyweight champion, Bautista.
You know,
Dave Meltzer.
the more you guys talk about Meltzer, because I don't listen, he sounds like that 5-year-old kid that tries to tell you a story after school. He sounds like that to me. I don't
This
know
angle
why.
was this angle
At school today. At school, it was at school today. But the story wasn't at school, but it was at school today when I heard. Like, oh God,
Look what I
Stop
can do. I
Yeah,
can
look
write
what I can
1,000
do.
words.
yeah, I can fart. It's great, buddy. Way to go. Good
I can give 5 stars. Dad. 5 stars.
I'm sorry, I can't help it. Batista won a rematch with Triple H for the World Heavyweight Championship at Backlash. So he kind of he builds it, wins it, retains it. That's pretty big. So
That was nice of Triple H to do that, to let him win
I
twice.
allowed him.
We're friends.
No.
We're friends. After Batista retained his title against Edge on the May 23rd episode of Raw, he was betrayed by Ric Flair. I didn't know he was still in the picture. Who helped Triple H viciously attack.
Neither
the
did
champion.
Hello.
I'm back.
I knew
Triple
the
H,
crowd would forget about Rick, so I wrote him in.
yeah, so Triple H challenged
Swerve.
Batista in a Hell in the Cell match at Vengeance. Batista also won the match at Vengeance, retaining his title yet again.
Good.
With this win, Batista became the first wrestler to pin Triple H in a
Good.
Hell in the Cell match.
That was probably their best match. The Hell in the Cell match was excellent. I really,
Yeah.
really enjoyed that match.
But when that cell lowers, and it's just those two men inside of it, nowhere to run, nowhere to hide, Batista may in fact be out of his league.
Well, the issue, the points you bring up are very pertinent, obviously, from the standpoint that can that man Triple H lose 3 times in a row in high-profile main events against Batista? That's what we're fighting for tonight.
Batista bought him on the fucking stairs.
Oh yeah, that's
He what?
He Batista bombed him on the stairs.
Oh,
yeah.
shoot.
Brutal. I remember that. On the June 30th episode of SmackDown, Batista was drafted to the SmackDown brand as the last pick. So you're a world champion, but you get picked last. That's weird. And the 2005 WWE Draft
So
Lottery,
funny.
making a surprise entrance to attack JBL, who was celebrating his victory in a 6-man elimination match to crown the inaugural SmackDown champion.
They hid, I think Batista was like the secret draft. So they had already John Cena beat JBL for the WWE Championship WrestleMania 21, and Batista beat Triple H for the World Heavyweight Championship. So both were, and then they drafted Cena to Raw. So Batista and Cena for a couple of weeks were on Raw together. So they did this whole thing where they did this 6-man challenge or whatever to crown. Well, I guess if both champions are on there, we're going to crown a SmackDown champion. And then JBL wins, and then Batista's music plays, and they're like, "Oh, by the way, we just drafted Batista, so now he's the world champion for SmackDown." So that's how they did it.
Good. We don't like JBL anyway. Even though JBL defeated Batista at the Great American Bash by disqualification after the referee saw Batista use a steel chair. So that means that Batista is still currently our champion, right? They had a rematch at SummerSlam and a no-holds-barred match, which Batista pinned JBL. The feud culminated in a Texas bull rope match on September 9th episode of SmackDown, with Batista retaining his championship there. That doesn't sound very good to me for some reason. Was that match
It
any
probably
good?
wasn't.
It probably was
No,
bad.
it probably wasn't. And JBL was involved.
Oh my God! Take a guess! Take a guess! Oh my! Batista looked at JBL! Oh my God! Batista on the steel steps! Here's the cover! 2, 3! The animal has been unleashed! Here's your winner and still world heavyweight champion, Batista!
I'm pretty sure.
Doesn't sound like to me like Vince McMahon would ever allow a Texas bull rope match. He didn't like names after geography in Texas, and that's interesting to me.
Yeah, he wasn't running that show, that's for sure.
I guess it makes sense with JBL. My bad.
JBL is a bully like me. It's fine. I'll allow it.
Oh no. Soon after
What do you think,
retaining the
Mark?
title
I think it's
in
fine.
a feud with Eddie Guerrero at No Mercy, WWE.com reported that Batista suffered a muscle tear in his back. That sounds horrible. At a taping for the November 11th episode of SmackDown, due to a double chokeslam from Big Show and Kane. Wow. Getting a little rough, guys. Why did 2 people have to double chokeslam? That's weird.
2
Or maybe you
clunky
don't-
fucks, and they chokeslam
Yeah,
him.
was he was chokeslamming them, right?
No, they were chokeslamming him.
Why do you need both of them? Like that's too much.
It's
That's
a super chokeslam, Dave. That
Yeah, they're
ripped
like,
his
oh,
back
we
out.
were too
No.
rough with him on
Yeah.
that.
I knew
it's
Batista
only
couldn't stay healthy. I knew
it's only 700 pounds of someone chokeslamming somebody else. Like
Okay,
Jesus, how much do
Dave,
you need?
if Kane gets on Big Show's shoulders and they choke slam him, then it's 12 feet in the air.
and I'm
Idiot.
pretty sure it didn't
Idiot,
happen
Craig.
that way.
Thank
Pretty
you.
sure it didn't
What?
happen that way.
2 guys, double.
Duh. You weren't there. Do your research. Sorry. Just gonna keep saying that. Plans have been made for Bautista to defend the title in a triple threat match with Eddie Guerrero and Randy Orton on the November 18th episode of SmackDown, but the match did not take place due to the unexpected death of Guerrero on November 13th, the date of that said taping. That's hard to read every time we talk about it. Bautista paid homage to Guerrero during the Raw and SmackDown tribute shows dedicated to Guerrero's memory. Batista also led the SmackDown team against Team Raw in an inter-brand feud before Survivor Series. The feud saw Big Show and Kane chokeslamming Batista several more times in the weeks leading up to Survivor Series.
Let's keep that injury going. I was like, do it again. I think that Batista should be chokeslammed with his injured back 25 more times.
Yeah.
Sure, Trips? I think so. Do I win the title back if that happens?
He beat Batista, not Triple H. Ultimately helped his team win the match at Survivor Series after Batista saved Rey Mysterio from Big Show and Kane. Why are they picking on all these little people? God. In the December 2nd episode of SmackDown, leading to a match with Mysterio teaming with Batista to face Show and Kane at Armageddon. Hey, can I ask them, did Show and Kane ever win a tag title or anything? They're doing a lot of work together. You'd think they would.
They might have. I don't know. But did you read that too? With that Mysterio and Batista won the tag titles, right?
Yeah, they did. That was like the next slide.
Yeah.
So they defeated the tag team champions in a match they dedicated to Guerrero.
Did they have a name?
And then so Guerrero and Batista became a double champion.
Big and Little. That's dumb.
Big and Little.
Batista Stereo. I don't know.
Yeah.
The Stereo Junior.
Second time tonight, and look at Bautista. Wow! The Bautista bomb. Are they gonna do it? What are they gonna do? They get it. Holy smokes! New tag team champions, Bautista and the Stereo. Here are your winners and the new. Oh my God! WWE Tag Team Champions, Rey Mysterio and Bautista.
After this, the clash with Big Show and Kane at Armageddon turned into a champion versus champions encounter. Batista and Mysterio lost to Big Show and Kane at Armageddon. 2 weeks later on SmackDown, Eminem defeated Batista and Mysterio after help from the returning Mark Henry to regain the WWE Tag Team Championship. During interference, Henry attacked Batista and performed his World's Strongest Slam. Nobody cares about that. The teams met again in a steel cage match the following week that Henry also became involved in. That's enough to make me want to puke. And Batista and Mysterio were defeated again. Batista tore his right triceps during the match with Mark Henry at a house show on January 6th. Why are you putting him with all... Never mind, I can't even get into it. Every person he's been in, of course he tore something. Of course he tore something with these people. I'm just looking at the names. Like, yeah, of course they hurt him. Forcing him to vacate the World Heavyweight Championship at the SmackDown taping on January 13th, 2 days after surpassing Triple H's previous mark of 280 days for longest reigning champion. In his book, Batista Unleashed, Batista said that he thought Henry was careless during their match, and she never gave Batista any warning that the move was coming. Batista went on to have successful surgery on his arm on January 12th and had to start all over again.
Wait a minute. I will defend Mark Henry on that one. You didn't know that when they booked Henry to come out and set up a feud with you, that he wasn't going to do the World's Strongest Slam, which was his finisher? He had no idea. Like, he came out there and he's like, okay, Mark Henry comes up. Mark Henry's supposed to hip toss me? What? A World's Strongest Slam? Like, come on. Like, they told Batista that fucking Mark Henry's going to do his finisher on him. Come on.
Maybe I wasn't ready. Maybe he went home early on it.
Yeah, like I didn't know the move was coming. Really? You didn't know the move was coming? Because that's like the whole point of the whole running.
I didn't know it was coming right there, Jess.
I was loose.
He was supposed to do a drop down toe hold on me, and then out of nowhere,
that's it.
Trying to slam. Who proved this? Like,
I'm just gonna give you the machine guns.
I love
can only do this one hand now. One hand.
I love Batista, but I'm gonna call bullshit on that.
You're right. It's got to be one hand now this way.
Because of your actions, Mark. Your actions.
I'm gonna put it in my book. I don't know why it kind of sounds like Triple H, my voice. Why did Bautista sound like that?
Everybody,
Yeah. How could you have
I
not
like
known the move was coming, Dave? I guess he's not a professional that we thought, Vince. Can I win the title back?
no,
Can I win the
just
title
don't
back?
do
Can I
that.
win the title back?
Oh, I guess we're just gonna have to let him go, Vince.
Mark's unsafe. Yeah. Right, everybody? I'm Trips.
He's trying to around the locker room. Am I right, everybody? And Sean's like,
Yeah.
right.
This is
Not
one
you,
guy.
Sean. You always agree with me. Not you. If you
But
agree
you're
with
the
me,
worst
people
one
know
to
that we're
agree with
fucking
me.
in
Stop
on
it.
No.
You go. You leave now. Yeah.
Yeah, if you agree
That's
with me, people are
terrible.
going to know that we're fucking the clique. You got to stop that shit. You got to stop. Right, Guerrero? And Guerrero looks down.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right, Jess. This is definitely probably the biggest year for Bautista. He had a lot of good years, but this is probably the
Well, it really sucked, And
tops.
then in 06, he did come back from his injury, and he eventually won the world title back from Booker T, King Booker. Yeah, like I think his momentum was kind of
King
derailed here,
Booker.
and then they were farting around with the brand split here too and everything. So I think Bautista, it was always split, right? It was Bautista on one side, Cena on the other, and then when Bautista got injured here, I think Cena kind of stole the show, and that's when Vince kind of realized, like, you know what, like Cena's kind of my guy. Not that he never respected Bautista after that; he always pushed Bautista, but I think Cena kind of here became. Like after 2005, like Vince is like, okay, like Cena's really my guy. And I don't mean that to shit on Batista at all, but it was like you get injured at the wrong time, and Cena
Well, there's
had this
only
knack for not only not
one-
getting injured, but when Cena would get injured, he would heal 50% faster
I was
than any other
gonna say
athlete.
that
Cena's
to anybody
great,
else.
you know?
And there only can be one guy. Titles change hands from time to time, but there really is only one guy to carry your federation. At least that's what Vince always thought and portrayed. So I mean, even
And
right now,
Batista
your
was
one
like
guy
what?
is Roman,
Batista was like
you know?
8 to 10 years older than Cena too, so like he's gonna recover
Yeah.
slower. He's a bigger guy, like, you know.
How do Cena and
like,
Batista get along in real life? Like, I've never seen any like tweets or anything
sure
or
it's
support
Yeah,
back
I
and
haven't
forth.
seen anything like that either. I don't really know actually.
Until you mentioned that, like maybe Cena taking his spot and blowing past him. I didn't know if as both as actors, I don't know if there's
Well,
been any moments of them together at all.
You could also argue. I mean, if you look back on it now, Batista. If Batista looks back on it honestly, he's like, it shouldn't have happened. Like he wasn't. Like they might have had plans, but I don't think they expect him to be this good for this long. You know, you said they had plans for Orton. They are always going to push younger, and I think the Batista plan was kind of like a good happenstance. You know, it was just like, hey, wow, this is.
I remember,
cool.
Cena was really over as U.S. champion, and people really loved Cena. But the crowd swell for Batista when he turned on Triple H and did the whole thumbs down
big.
thing was really big. I mean, and that was the main event of WrestleMania 21. JBL and Cena wasn't. So at first, Vince was going
Yeah.
with Batista again. I love the big tall guys. Cena was always in great shape, but Batista was huge. So Vince really wanted that, and I think when he kept getting injured and all that stuff, I
That's
think
your
like,
point.
Vince is
That's
sort of like, well, Cena's my
that's
guy.
200. That's a 250 pound man to a 310 pound man. I mean, it's big.
Right.
It's big and tall. Yeah,
Huge difference, and the age difference too. The
difference.
8 to 10 year, yeah.
Yeah, but you saw Cena's never gotten past probably like 260. He's shorter.
Right.
And yeah, Vince cares. Vince has always cared about that stuff. I know nobody likes talking about it, but it's true. So
I guess Cena's my guy.
The big tall guys.
Vince, why?
Why?
What about Triple H over here? What are we doing?
Triple H? What? Triple H?
Tell him, Sean. I just shut up, Sean.
Wow.
Fuck
Craig,
up, Sean.
what do you got on? What do you got on
He
this one?
became dominant, like against Sean in the back.
to play
Sean
us
was
out,
always, like,
Craig.
the
What do you got?
flamboyant
What do you
one
got
on
on
screen.
Bautista?
Shut up,
What do you got?
Sean.
I love any episode that Triple H loses 3 times in a row, including getting Cena Light to Hell in a Cell. So let's keep it going for an hour and a half.
The business, Craig.
People say I don't sacrifice, but I totally did.
I lost to
2005.
Batista 1, 2, 3 times.
Swim,
Right, Sean? Yeah, I think. Shut up, Sean.
I did what's best
That's
for
gonna be the new thing
business.
for the next 3 weeks, right, Sean? Shut up, Sean.
Right, Sean? Well, I think that. Shut up, Sean.
Well, I think that.
Nobody asked you.
And it's more like, well, I think.
You got any of them drugs? Sorry.
Oh no!
What? What happened?
For audio fans, give
What?
us a listen on Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, Stitcher.
Was he
Anchor
clean by
Podcast,
then?
or
I
watch our videos
apologize.
on YouTube.
I don't know.
at our wrestling channel. Nobody's mad at you, bro. On social media, give us a follow on Instagram or Twitter at
Jesus is cool, guys.
or on Facebook at Our Wrestling
Triple H
Podcast.
Was it that?
For Dave, Jess, and Craig, this is the
I don't know what
O.W.P.
Sean it was.
Signing off.
It was clean, Sean.
Have
All
a
right.
good one.
Jesus.
You guys are terrible.